Hello, I'm Philip Stoughton. I am on the Adeon Technologies booth and I am joined by our very kind host, André. André, first of all, big thank you. We've really appreciated being here on your booth this week, and it's been a pleasure to talk to the great and good of the European PCB industry.
You're more than welcome. Thank you.
No, thank you. Before we dig into some of the trends they've highlighted, I just wanted to see how the show had been for you. The booth has been busy and vibrant. It looks like you got a whole bunch of students here as well today.
Welcome.
Having a good look. We want them. Yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna offer them a job soon.
Absolutely. What have people been talking to you about at the show? What are they looking for? Is automation the theme? What are the indicators that you're seeing?
The market is on the move, as we say. We see that certainly the economy in general in PCB country has not been fantastic all over. However, for us it's been a very busy time anyway, because I think we specialized also on a lot of development in automation, stuff that we've been talking about for a long time, but really automation has now made its integration into a lot of equipment. So you can see that people struggle to find operators, find people to run things, but also the intelligence behind that, like the data tracking of the machine generated data that is now being pulled back for analysis. So we see a lot of developments in that area, that people are very interested in learning more about what are the machines actually doing and what can I do with that data generated by the machines to improve my process from the first step when I get new jobs in. But also, new type of technology. I think the Injet solder mask is really making its way in now, and obviously we've seen that. We know now of one huge new factory coming at Teltonica, for which we are gratefully took a lot of orders. But this is the first time in my 30 years in this industry that I have been speaking to 4 potential new PCB factories in Europe.
Wow.
So, but at the same time, it's not all sunshine. One has to say that realistically. We've seen the UK, some shops closing. We've seen some larger shops who are not fully filled up with work. So the market is a little bit on the move. There's a little bit of unrest, but overall there's a lot of positive feedback and a lot of positive vibes about where we want to go. I don't ever think we will see volume manufacturing coming back. We've always said that. But there is definitely a trend that manufacturing is being taken more and more seriously again in Europe. Yeah, and
I think that's really important. And there are a few points to unpack there. I think the automation trend and the digital transformation trend is huge, and actually being able to use that data and plug that in helps. The automation is going to help with the shortage of people. The trend with respect to stuff coming back, I think, in certain critical industries, we're going to see that, and it's not the high volume consumer markets, clearly, because we can't compete on that basis. But there are other areas where that's there, and it's really encouraging to hear that there are people that are actually building greenfield sites and thinking of opening new factories here. I think that's really interesting. When you talk to your customers, do they talk to you about the niche they're in and the technology requirement they have, and which technologies are more likely to stay here than go offshore?
The market in Europe is pretty overseeable for us. So most of the customers we know what they're doing, and we just find ourselves very proud to be contacted always in an early stage of any new type of developments. So yes, we are being requested to go also into final lines, but as I mentioned, the data generation by machines and what are we going to do to analyze to make the product better, increase yields at lower cost is I think the main trend with the automation together. So.
The other question that came up from one or two of the printed circuit board companies was kind of critical mass, I guess, and 20 years ago we were 20% of the world's production. Now we're 2.5% to 3%. That consolidation makes it even more important for them to partner with companies like you that can represent a vast number of manufacturers.
Yeah, we I always say we stumbled over the borders. It was never a plan. When we started, we had a lot of work from a certain company in Holland, who basically just disappeared in 2-3 years' time. That was early 90s. So we then went into Germany, we went into the UK, we went into the rest of Europe. And very early on I noticed that we could only do this with a serious plan behind it, because sitting by the phone waiting for the phone to ring to send an engineer somewhere is going to be a very costly event and not very efficient. So we've developed for all our suppliers, all our products, really predictive maintenance schedules based also focused on each different customer. And indeed with the market slowing down or getting smaller, and we lost 70% of the market maybe over the last 30 years, it has given us the opportunity to cover the whole area, work with the right type of suppliers, and become where we are now, which makes us actually very proud given the compliments we also have received this week. So
and absolutely, it feels like you've become like a fulcrum for the industry, and it's not just important for you to have those great relationships you have with the board shops, but also those great relationships that you have with capital equipment suppliers, because I see you not only as the person that supplies that equipment, but you are the voice of customer. You're the feedback loop back to the supplier. Do they listen to André? Do they say, André's with a lot of our customers, or your team are with a lot of our customers? Let's talk to him about what's going on and what the market needs next.
This is definitely so, and I also like to believe that this is the type of suppliers that we have. We are very blessed to have the suppliers that we have, because they do. Also fair to say that we parted from one supplier where we did not get that achievement at all, but especially in the field of AOI, the field of direct imaging, but all over. Even though we're a very small market in Europe, we're very diverse. We have a lot of demand. We want everything now. We want to do it 30 times a day. So it's interesting to see that our suppliers have embraced that very seriously and saying, well, in order to if we can cover and if we can support the European style of the market, that basically gives us a good basis to build up for the rest of the world. Because absolutely, even though you are small, it's very cost driven, but you're very intense in the development and demanding.
No, I think you make a very good point. If they can make it here, they can make it anywhere. To take a quote from Frank Sinatra. Thanks again for having us here. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for talking to me, and we'll talk again soon. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you very much.